No rivalries, but I don't think she has anything to do with me. I mean, my whole thing is singing, writing songs. Yeah, and I've been doing this, my whole life. Singing is first and foremost. It's a God-given talent that I'm grateful for. Her thing is something different.
Have you heard Beyonce Drunk in Love?
I don't know. I love Beyonce, but I haven't.
Mariah just flew in from her own planet. I'm telling you, this is Mariah's.
My own planet. I did. So
Now Beyonce is being criticized once more for stealing from other musicians, and this time many are speculating that she might have unintentionally deleted Mariah Carey, the same artist she used to look up to.
Mariah Carey's voice comes from God. You can hear the gospel in her voice. Very nice to see her in the church. The whole message in the video was just vision of love. Was one of the first songs I heard when I was a kid, and I was like, how does she do that? In this little short amount of times, the amount of notes she could squeeze in that one little bar, 2 bars, was fascinating to me. And that's kind of when I started trying it. And it's something that I love to do in my music, but she completely inspired.
Let us just state that this is all alleged before the Beyhive goes into overdrive. However, honey, fire is always present where smoke is present. I mean, isn't Beyonce claiming that because she would go to gigs and grab everything, no one wanted to invite her?
Everybody gonna want us to go to their shows, Frank.
What?
Because we gonna take everything.
Everybody does that.
No, everybody does.
But we go and meet everybody, say, hey, great show, and then still
Furthermore, who is claiming that Beyonce was the one who deluded Mariah Carey and the industry? Jennifer Lopez, that is. I am aware that J-Lo ought to be the last to discuss anyone undermining Mariah Carey. Well, if you turn back time, you will actually hear Beyonce praising Mariah Carey, as if she were the epitome of vocal brilliance. We are discussing pure admiration. Furthermore, Bey has openly stated that Mariah was the inspiration behind her decision to pursue music. She has also publicly said that hearing Vision of Love was a turning point in her life, the moment that confirmed, yes, this is what I want to do. And if you delve a little deeper, you will find old interviews and video clips of a young Beyonce subtly fangirling over Mariah Carey's presence and singing prowess. I am not sure if the admiration reached the point where Beyonce actually desired to take Mariah Carey's position, but I have seen many speculate that it would be feasible due to the musical similarities between the two artists. The so-called surprise album strategy, for example, has always been discussed. The Beyhive accused Mariah of stealing Beyoncé's groundbreaking 2013 self-titled album as soon as she was preparing to unveil her secretive chanteuse album, Me, I Am Mariah. However, several fans took the opposite stance, claiming that Beyoncé might have really taken some inspiration from MC's behind-the-scenes tactics, and that Mariah had long been discussing reimagining her album releasing methods. Then there are the more subdued elements, such as the glam, the diva persona, and the combination of slick visual branding and vocal acrobatics, all of which Mariah was doing in the 1992nd when Beyoncé was just starting to gain popularity. Some admirers have drawn attention to the obvious similarities between some of Beyoncé's outfits or performances and previous Mariah moments. In essence, the accusation is that Beyoncé stalled Mariah's development by using her power to make more space for herself, something she has been accused of doing with a number of other singers. A demo of Jennifer Armour's song Got a Little Bit of Love for You was reportedly given to Beyoncé's record label, Columbia Records, back in 2003. She felt the song sounded incredibly similar when she heard Baby Boy on the radio a few months later. In the end, Jennifer lost her claim because she was unable to convince the judge that Bey actually heard her song first. Did you see the incredible choreography for her Formation World Tour as well? According to reports, Beyoncé also took that from a struggling dance group. In a lengthy Instagram post, choreographer Marlon Ortiz even criticized Bey for taking dance techniques from her troupe's performance, De La Guardia, noting that although inspiration is good, she and her struggling co-workers would have at least appreciated a little recognition. Speaking of choreography, Gwen Verdon, the late dancing legend and choreographer Bob Fosse's wife, was the subject of Beyoncé's Single Ladies, which she kind of stole. Bey said that Bob was the inspiration after being criticized during an appearance at 106 and Park. Although Bob Fosse deserves more credit, Beyoncé's skills have gained widespread recognition. She also drew inspiration for her Countdown music video from Anteresa de Kersmaker, a Belgian choreographer. In order to show how much was copied and simply to observe the similarities, fans really created side-by-side comparison videos. It is insane. For her album, B-Day, Beyoncé also covered Desiree's song Kissing You, renaming it Still in Love, Kissing You, and giving herself credit as the songwriter. Beyoncé went on and re-recorded the song, and even filmed a video even though an agreement to use it never materialized. Desiree consequently demanded that the song's dissemination be effectively halted and that she be awarded $150,000 in damages. There was even a long Twitter conversation about how Bey has taken many of Madonna's ideas. Additionally, she performed Somebody Like a Marie.
I always said she was the original Beyonce. Beyonce stole her steez.
Oh, you think so?
Look at Crazy in Love video and look at A. Marie.
Fall in love?
Fall in Love.
The problem is that Amerie asked producer Rich Harrison, who has worked with J-Lo and Beyoncé, for assistance when she was working on her second album in 2004. It seems that Rich and his group completed One Thing, the lead single from the second album, in about 1 to 3 hours. However, the song was turned down when they submitted it to Columbia, Amerie's record label. For months, they actually refused to accept any of the versions that Amerie and Rich offered them. Amerie claimed at the time that her sound was just not understood by Columbia Records personnel. Now, take note of those words "I did not understand." Since her sound was stolen, that is where the tea lies. Beyoncé comes in. Now, when Beyoncé discussed her song Crazy in Love, she said that the horn hook was the reason it became popular, saying, "It has this go-go vibe to it, this old-school feel. I was uncertain if it would be understood." As you recall, Amerie claimed that people did not understand her sound, which also had an old-school go-go vibe. The Beyhive, however, disputes that Bey stole Amerie's song, particularly because Crazy in Love came out before One Thing. However, Rich Harrison produced Amerie before Beyoncé, and while he was still working with Amerie, he had Crazy in Love. Therefore, the likelihood that he worked on Crazy in Love for Amerie first is rather likely. Furthermore, a song may not have been composed and recorded first just because it was released first. Long before then, Amerie's sound could have been taken. In essence, Amerie and Rich developed their own musical style that was influenced by the go-go of Washington, D.C., where she was born. Amerie's career was eclipsed by Beyoncé's style once her people or she herself heard it. I will not even start with the claims that Beyoncé attempted to ruin Rihanna's career, honey. Do you believe Beyoncé attempted to undermine Normani as well? Because Beyoncé's target is frequently brought up when discussing how Normani is not as well known as she ought to be. In any case, a lot of individuals have expressed that they can somewhat understand how Beyoncé may have ruined Mariah's career by using her influence. J-Lo has also reportedly been talking about Mariah's sabotage behind the scenes. There are also many who argue that, given what she did to Mariah Carey, J-Lo ought to be the last to expose someone for theft. As you may recall, Mariah was working on the movie Glitter and experiencing problems with her ex-boyfriend Tommy Mottola when she got a sample of the Yellow Magic Orchestra's 1978 song Firecracker, which she intended to utilize for her single Loverboy. And when she heard the song she had acquired for her album on J-Lo's record, she was as surprised as everyone else. The problem is that, although J-Lo was already somewhat famous due to her appearance on In Living Color, she had a flaw. She could not start singing because, well, she was not a very good singer. She was also unable to get on Broadway due to her poor acting and singing skills. Next up is Tommy Mottola, who was previously married to Mariah but had a troubled marriage. Mariah wanted to end the marriage and her contract with Sony at one time, but Tommy was not going to let her go that simply. Tommy sent J-Lo a song that Mariah had previously recorded in order to annoy her. He essentially put Mariah's rendition on hold and made J-Lo's version available. In her book, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, Mariah even discussed how this impacted her, saying, "Sony hurried to develop a single for another female entertainer on their label, whom I do not know, after hearing my new song, using the same sample I used. Because of this, when Mariah was asked to share her thoughts on other female singers in the industry, she said that Beyoncé is kind and a talented lyricist. When questioned about Jennifer Lopez, she replied, "I do not know her." Since then, she has insisted that she does not know J-Lo.
No rivalries, but I don't think she has anything to do with me. I mean, my whole thing is singing, writing songs. Yeah, and, I've been doing this, my whole life. Singing is first and foremost. It's a God-given talent that I'm grateful for. Her thing is something different.
In a Talk magazine piece, Mariah further disparaged the claim that J.Lo does not perform her own songs, saying she slept only 3 hours a night. Mariah responded to J.Lo's claim of sleeping 8 hours by saying, "If I had the luxury of not having to sing my own songs, darling, I'd do that too. I am not sure, but perhaps J.Lo's discussion of Mariah's sabotage is an attempt to win back MC's favor. However, why is she also criticizing Beyoncé in the process? Perhaps the divas are working on something else behind the scenes. Furthermore, I am still unsure of what that might be. However, do share your thoughts in the space provided below.